Voice check. Okay, everything works. So, welcome back, everyone. We've taken a week off, and now on this beautiful month of March, we are back racing in FLR. Second half of the season begins now. We are here at Baku, and one thing I can tell about Baku already is it's never boring in league racing. Good evening, Ian. Good evening, mate. It's never boring in league racing, is Baku. From experience, there's usually at least one DNF already in qualifying, and then usually some more in the race. It looks like it's gonna be sunny weather, at least for this 80-minute short qualifying. And Baku, other than for having more than average DNFs, is also known for having photo finishes, of course. A few years ago in another league, I saw a finish which had the whole podium separated by about 30 thousandths of a second. But then again, because of its low grip nature and the abundance of corners, because it also has a lot of corners other than having, of course, the second longest straight in F1. In some races you can also see the fastest drivers just pull away a lot. So it might be a photo finish, but it might as well be an 18-20 second victory for someone. Having said that though, know who am I this week. So his win streak will conclude at 4, and we will have someone new there. So in terms of the other people who have won races this season, Tom Eat not here either. He's also a reserve. So again, he's not bound to being here. And the only full-time driver to win a race this season, Engine, who won in Las Vegas. So he might be on his way to continuing his street dominance. And of course you have Tom. Tom GoPro, the championship leader himself, who has not won a race so far this season, because he just likes finishing P2 that much. So you would have to say for sure Tom and Engine are the strong favorites here today, with the absence of course, Tom Eat and Alex Hendricks, who is absent in the sense that he has just left the session. And this is not the first time that he's had connection issues in this week. Hopefully that's just one thing. So, yeah, people are starting their flying laps now. I think Chichi is the most advanced in that sense, so we'll go on board with the Visa driver. Obviously this is his first time racing here with us in 3 weeks, because he missed the most recent race because he was sick that day, I believe. He goes just a little bit deep, but goes perfect anyway, because obviously he's the first car. You can see his teammate ahead of him, but that's rapid, he's only on an hour lap. Hello Puko. I just looked away for a second, didn't see how he navigated Castle, but he must have done it decently because there are no parts missing from that car. Heavy braking to here. Lots of different approaches possible at this corner. You can take that inside curb a lot more, but Chichi just deciding not to take that risk, and you know it's normal not to take too many risks on a bunker. And another element that's actually been characteristic of Baku since they changed the battery system is that it shows who is very good at battery management. Because you could see that Chichi at the very end there, before he crossed the line to record the lap of 40.7, he was below 10% in battery, which means he was losing engine power. For example, you see LT here in the Merc. He has 3/4 of his battery remaining, so unless he is really high in terms of wings, he's not gonna run out of battery before the start-finish line, I don't think. Engine goes faster, and that's a statement of intent there. 38.4, that's over 2 seconds ahead of his competition so far. Actually, I was wrong there on LT, sorry. I was wrong there, he actually did go below 10%, and even earlier than Chichi, so clearly I've been away from this game a little bit too much, and I've forgotten how quickly that battery burns down. So we got Ben logging in 40.5, and we got a row of people there all on 40s, and then you have Engine and LT kind of in their own worlds right now. We'll see what Tom's response is gonna be. So Tom go Pro, the championship leader. I'm gonna go to the actual championship order at some point during this session when there's a calmer moment. So Tom looking up a little bit at 10-7, but nothing much. Now Chukasu just trying to turn the car. Try to get it turned in as quickly as possible. Back on power. Now through turn 15, heavy braking zone down here. Actually that's turn 16, my bad. Or is it maybe 15? I don't know, I need to get used to the corner names. I'm not really used to them in Baku. So Tom navigating it nicely so far. Looks like a clean bunker with no major mistakes. Obviously there was a slight lockup that we heard, but I don't know whether that was an actual mistake or just the game audio as usual. And Tom ran out of battery a lot earlier than Chi-Chi and even than LT. But still, he made up so much time earlier in the lap that it's good enough for P2 and 7/10 ahead of P3. Josh makes it into P4, so both of the McLaren currently in the top 4. And as I said, the guys who are strong favorites, already separating themselves from the competition. We are currently on board with Rapid in that pink Visa, so Rapid is back to that livery after driving with the other special livery the past couple races. He's gone purple in sector 2 as he navigates out of 10-17. And now he's going to be flat out of the line. He clips the wall there. Obviously no damage. And even if he got damage there, it wouldn't really affect him. Because it's just a straight to go. And you see what I was talking about there. Rapid very good on the battery management there. He didn't go below 10%. So he didn't lose engine power, but obviously he wasn't fast enough in the corners because that still sees him half a second away from Tongo Prof. So you see that Engine, Tongo Prof and Rapid and LT have separated themselves a bit from everyone else. That's nice to see from LT, the first time I've seen him this close to the sharp end. We got Puko, one of the 3 people to have not set the time so far. Suzuki Puko always there or thereabout in the top 4 and the top 5. Has also graced us with some nice battles, especially at Zandvoort in the rain. He clips a little bit of the inside curb. Now on the power, going to turn 19, turn 20. Let's see if he clips the wall. No, he was much farther from that wall than Rapid was. And now it's going to be battery fully deployed to the line. He's going to go below 10%, I think, just about. But still very good battery management from the Williams driver. And that should see him about in the 39s. And he becomes the 5th person to get into the 39s. So he's again in the top 5 where he usually is. I think the only place where he was slightly off was in Mexico. Other than that, he's usually about top 5 pace. Alex Hendricks still in the pits. And we are nearly halfway through qualifying, so hopefully he can get back out. Obviously, weird and glitched things happen when you disconnect in qualifying. Sometimes it just retires your car, or sometimes you come back and it says that your car is active, but you just can't rejoin it. So I hope there's no issues on that front. It's even because I'm yapping, and I don't even know if he's back in. He's not back in. So obviously, Obviously his car is not gonna be doing anything because he's not back in. So IS-1 navigating the castle, a little bit hesitant there, obviously doesn't want to lose his left front wheel on a bunker. On the power and shifting quickly through the gears, I think he might be on automatic gearbox. Hard on the brakes down to turn 16, clips a little bit of that inside curb, doesn't really extend the track fully to the outside wall. Now into turn 17, brakes just past the 100-meter board, doesn't clip the inside curb, rides the outside curb, the exit curb a little bit, and now it's gonna be flat to the line again, just like it was for every other driver. Interestingly, he kept a little bit to the right there, which I didn't really see from anyone before. And he turned off battery there, which I think cost him time, and he just went below 1% before the line, so that would have cost him even more. Still, he manages to be P13. And now with everyone who is actually in the lobby having a time on the board, I'm just gonna take this time to quickly remind you basically of the championship standing. So we got Tom leading the way, obviously on 32 points ahead of Engine, which is nearly a full race win in hand, but Tom has already flagged that he will be missing 3 races, I believe it is, because of holiday later this month, so that championship is still open. We got Engine 32 points behind Tom, and then only 2 points behind Engine in P3 is Alex Hendricks, who as it stands will be losing massive ground because he's still not in the session. We got Rapid with 9 points behind Alex Hendricks, and has not actually been on the podium since the opening round, so this is a chance for Rapid to break that streak. And then we got Puko in P5, who there's a little bit of open air between him and Rapid because he's 31 points behind Rapid. That's your top 5 in the drivers, where Josh, Chichi, Ian, Barnards, who is... yeah, he is back. Barnards and Panda, Panda's also here. I don't know why I thought they weren't here. These guys round out the top 10 in the drivers, and in terms of constructors, McLaren have a very, very nice round 200 points, which sees them 33 points ahead of Kick Sauber, who of course have been beset by Engine's connection, and also by Ian missing a race because he had to get someone's keys or something like that. And then 9 points behind Kick Sauber is Visa in P3, then you got 26 points back to Merck and 32 points back to Ferrari, so Ferrari in P5 in constructors have less than half the points of leaders McLaren, so you'd have to think that the constructors is going to be decided between McLaren, Kick and Visa. And then actually, because I've been getting you up to speed with everything else, I actually haven't said that 7 races into the season, for the first time we got actually someone starting in the Alpine who is eligible to gain constructors points for them. So it's been 6 races without points for Alpine, and if our debutant, our newest member of the league, Mahon, I'm just gonna say Mahon until I get corrected. That's kind of where my tongue wants to go with that name. He is the first person eligible to score points for Alpine, because usually, if you remember, he goes actually 9th, so right in the middle of the pack there for the debutant. And there's a Ferrari getting out of the way rather abruptly. Hopefully he didn't get damage, give himself damage with that. So Alpine, which has been the honorary car of Who Am I, who obviously has won the past 4 races and is considered too fast at the moment to be a full-time driver, that car has now been turned over to someone who will be his proper driver, in the sense that he can score points for them. That's where I was going with that. Obviously, it was destined to be... oh my days, man. Obviously, it was destined to be Rabi and Harvey in that car, but Harvey hasn't had time to finish his shed because he's busy getting distracted by notifications from Ian, so that's why that's... And there is the DNF in session that I was talking about, so from slightly tilted. And that appears to be down at 10-4. But he was already in the top 5, so I think he will be able to... looking at the gap between him and Ian, who's 4 positions down, looking at the size of that gap, I don't really think Tilted will drop below P8, kind of, ish. 3 minutes remaining, obviously Baku quite a long track. Definitely long in terms of the lap time. So you'd be looking to go out with about 2 minutes 10 seconds remaining. No, just to have that pillow of reserve time in case something goes wrong. In case you have to wait for your teammate to go out, or you have to let someone pass. So I think Panda will be reaching turn 1 at the unfortunate point where people are getting out of the pits to start the final laps. So we'll stay on board here with the Ferrari driver. Just gonna turn all of this off for the minute. Alex Hendrick has rejoined again, but I think it's too late for him to set a quali time, unfortunately. And we've already seen Alex Hendricks make up a lot of positions in the race, especially his first 2 races with us. I think in Las Vegas, granted there was a big tango ahead of him, but I think he gained 10 positions on the opening lap in that one. So I'm sure he will recover, but that's not what he sees, as Panda has a tank slapper at the exit there of turn 3. So that's not what Alex Hendrick wants to see. Rusty has retired, so he's either crashed or he can just do no more. Because Alex Hendrick is 2 points behind Engine for P2 in the standings, and Tom, who is 32 points ahead of them, he's gonna be missing 3 races. So for all intents and purposes, with his consistency, Alex Hendricks is still cannot be counted out of this championship fight, even if he doesn't have the raw pace of the guys ahead. Puko getting nicely out of the way there for the Ferrari. The Ferrari, who is 24 thousandths down at the present moment. Heavy braking into 10-16. Nice on the power, using all the track on the exit. Does he use all the track on the entry? Almost. A 10.5 up. For Panda. He is very close in the standings with his teammates, so there is no clear number 1 driver at Ferrari. There are times coming in. Unfortunately, Alex Hendricks is confirmed to not be setting a time. Panda up to P6 and doesn't quite snag Tilted. Engine now starting his final flying lap. The current pole sitter, and with a sizable 7/10 gap to Tom as well. So I think if he improves, he will be out of reach for the guys behind. But let's see what he can do. Obviously, Engine, a few seasons ago, when he first joined us, I think season 5 it was, he was used to being in this position. But recently, or in the recent seasons, with having gone up against guys like Seb, Tape, Who Am I, Tom Ead, Gibbo, yeah, that's about it. He's not been getting that many poles in the past 9 months or so. He's sending into Castle, down to second gear for this corner. Nice rotation, having to hesitate on the throttle a little bit. There's a car that is right on the racing line ahead of him. I think that is Panda. And that is definitely impeding at this point. Yeah, but by the looks of things, it didn't quite affect him, and there wasn't really any physical contact. But as the FIA president, I kind of feel that could be grounds for impeding. I don't think Engine will push that though. Engine is not really a vengeful type or anything. But he goes to the line, Puko has jumped up to P3, and engine goes 37.8. That is over a second gap, over a second of a gap to P2. Tom is improving, but it's not gonna be enough unless he modified his engine illegally on the last straight. Rapid jumps up to P3, retaking that from Puko. LT finishes in P5. I don't think there was any improvement there. Panda was already done, and Mahon is not gonna improve. He was way down. So our debutant is gonna start from P12, and that is our grad set. Iceman also jumping up to P9 with a late flyer. So nice work from the Aston Martin driver, and obviously tilted in the end, only losing one position despite his premature exit. The big shocker of the session, even though not by any fault of his own, Alex Hendricks will start last. Quite a huge gap from these two guys to Rapid. It's 8 tenths between P2 and P3. And there you can see why these two are the main championship contenders. Obviously Alex Hendricks, I would also call him a championship contender, but he's doing it in a fashion more like myself, back when I used to actually be good. He isn't really flashy in qualifying, but he always gets through the field in races and challenges for high places. The rhyme wasn't intended. And he just left the session again. So yeah, I can't even invite him from this screen, because otherwise I would be on it straight away, but later I cannot do a thing. We're just now gonna take our 10. Now we're just gonna take our normal 5-minute break, and we'll see what happens afterwards. Tom not happy with 10-1, it seems like. And Alex Hendricks, who has not finished lower than 7th in the past 6 races, I think he might be out. I don't know why I just took a screenshot instead of just going to the other button. That, yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna send one more invite, I guess, and so yeah. In terms of what you can expect from the race, I mean, unless the FLR drivers have truly brought their best guns to the fight, I'm guessing at least 3 DNFs, because backwards and unforgiving circuit 1, where you can be eliminated from the race in an instant after making something that feels like such a minor mistake. Because there are certain corners where if you turn a millimeter too early, your wheel falls off. And those corners are mainly 10-3 and the castle sections. The ones where you can tuck the wall on the inside and just use a left front. However, I have also seen people crash in 10-1 on the exit wall, on the outside wall, by going a millimeter too far on the exit. Although that is rarer, I have seen that happen. People losing their right front on that exit wall, and to a degree also you need to be careful at 10-16. Because if you miss your braking point slightly, or if you intentionally just send it harder on a certain lap, you can also lose your right front on the exit wall there. Although that is rarer, and I think it depends on some RNG with the damage model. In terms of tire strategy, we will see a mix of 1-stops and 2-stops. This is a driver's track where doing a 1-stop doesn't really depend on pure tire wear in the sense that you will get a puncture. It depends on how well you can manage your rears, because as you get further and further into a stint, the fronts and rears get further away from each other in terms of wear, because the braking zones and everything, the low grip surfaces are just that taxing on the rears that they just wear out that much quicker, because those are the tires that you lean on when you accelerate and brake, or rather brake and accelerate. That's the right order for that. And we are go for the formation up. I'll go through everyone's tires. I'm just gonna quickly check what compounds are used on this track. So this track uses C4 through C6, which are the softest compounds available for the whole calendar. So that only bolsters the rear, the wear on the rears. I was literally about to say the rear on the wears. I don't know where my mind is at today. So in terms of tires, we have a fair mix. In the whole top 7, there are no 2 consecutive cars on the same tire anywhere. You have engine on hards, Tom on mediums, rapid on hards, Puko on mediums, LT on hards, tilted on mediums, Panda on hards. Then we got 3 of the next 4 cars on mediums, and then the 6 back markers are on the hards, with obviously Alex Hendricks being AI controlled. He has just said that he will not be attempting to rejoin anymore. So unfortunately this will be a massive blow in the championship for him, especially with Engine being only 2 points ahead of him and currently leading the way. And I don't know if Alex will be getting any points for this, but it might be the same thing with Engine, like Engine in Mexico, where he basically got the points that he would have got for the position, just out of a courtesy because he couldn't come back. Because usually we won't award points to AI drivers just because you can just quit and have the AI drive the race for yourself, and then it's like, why are you even a driver here? But sometimes you just can't help those situations. You know, not every disconnection is a master plan for GRs in advance, you know. Very few are even. But we are awaiting the green lights. Well, sorry, there are no green lights in F1. I don't know what I'm talking about. We are awaiting the lights in general, so that they can turn off and we can get ready to race. What is going on? We have 5 red lights on and we are on the way. Everyone is ghosting, but Tom and Engine are away and seem to have a huge advantage over everyone else. The other McLaren, that is Josh Jazz Gaming, getting a little bit sideways coming out of turn 1. There's also Rapid having a little bit of a lockup, and I thought I saw some parts flying around there. Our debutant, I think, is in the wall, or made slight contact with it, as Tom attacks Engine. There's gonna be contact between the tires heading into turn 3, Engine was slowed up by that. I think Engine might be carrying a little bit of damage, and Tom has taken advantage of that. Engine's end plates look fine. As they jump over the curb, Tom actually nearly went off track there. But he avoided contact with the wall, and he now leads this race. Whether that was a clean pass is debatable. I think Engine might have picked up a track limit warning there as well. But that corner is usually forgiving in terms of that. So the McLaren of Tom leads the way. Jumping over the curb, actually LT using a lot of that curb. You can see from this camera angle, which officially gets taken away from us, you could see the difference in how people were taking that corner. It was actually quite fun to see how LT just basically climbed that curb, and someone else, I think Ian, avoided the point where the curb is entirely. He just didn't want anything to do with the curb. Tom leads the way, and I had it set to fastest lap because I'm a muffin. We're just gonna have a quick look at the position changes. No real big gainers or losers there. But you got Welsh, Benjamin and Barnes both making up 2 places, and then on the contrary you got Rassi and Rapid both losing 2. And obviously you could see on the opening lap that Rapid was locked up there at 10-2. But no one pitted, so it appears like there was no damage. Even though it was quite an exciting start for everyone. Tom currently making the best of the mediums, as he has driven out of the DRS of Engine. Engine trying himself to drive out of the DRS of Puko there. No one really appears to be overly close to one another, but that is expected in this section because of the dirty air, obviously. Having said that though, Chichi is clinging to the back of Mahon. He's sticking very close to him indeed. He's definitely gonna have a shot at the Alpine driver with some DRS as they head towards the front straight. Just a quick look at the battery levels tells us that Mahon has some defenses available. Tom says the fastest lap, he's just put another 2/10 on Engine. Meanwhile, Engine for his part has not been able to escape from Puko. I think Puko is running way lower on downforce because Engine in the downforce dependent section was pulling away from him, and now Puko has just gained a lot of ground back. Kildare makes a move on Rapid, so the mediums are at their best right now and helping the drivers who are on them push forward. And Puko has just lost ground. He was in Engine's DRS and he suddenly lost 1.4 seconds, so I don't know if that was wall contact or he had to go AI briefly because of a real life issue, but he has lost a lot of ground and he's continuing to lose ground. 2.4 seconds behind Engine after he was 6 tenths behind him in Sector 1. So Puko's race unraveling, it would seem. I'm just looking for any issues. It doesn't look like there are any. But Puko has gone from potentially challenging Engine to being challenged by LT himself. I just want to have a look at that car. Now the end plates are still in place. Or are they? No, he's lost the left end plate. That is the whole issue there. I think he might have gone deep into turn 3 and that's where that happened. Rapid has spun! Rapid has spun! On the exit of turn 18, the Visa loses control, and that is not the first time this season he's done that on the street circuit. Obviously, Rapid was on pole in Las Vegas, and then he dropped it heading out of the turn 2-3 section, basically. So that is not the first major mistake we've seen from him this season. Puko is trying his best to stay ahead of LT. I think Rapid's got damage as well. There's not a scheduled stop. Unless it's really a bold strategy. We just have a look. And yeah, definitely the mechanics have a new wing there, so he must have tucked the wall somewhere in that adventure. We got Barnard's battling away with the other Aston Martin of Ice 1, and he makes his way through into turn 3, but he went quite deep, and that has given Ice 1 the opportunity to re-challenge, and they made contact there. So again, tire to tire, I don't think there is any damage on Ice 1's end plate, but I wonder if he's feeling hard done by that. So they remain in the same order for just a few more laps. So obviously we saw the Rapid immediately pitting after a broken end plate. He decided he just wasn't able to continue on with that, while Puko is taking a different approach. And now we got there's a tight section to go racing there. LT being very, very sensible to it and just letting that one slide. But Puko is adopting a different approach, as Tilted nearly loses the car in the third year of the Williams. Puko is taking a different approach. He's continuing on with the wing damage, and he's now 7 seconds behind Engine in 4 laps already. Obviously Tilted will be trying to make this move, but if we know Puko's modus operandi by now, we know that he likes to have some low wings, and those wings are having an effect right now. We also got LT. It could be free wide into turn 1. And it is free wide, and that's Tilted having kissed to the exit wall there. I didn't quite clearly see if that cost him his end plate, but all of that, as we have LT nearly losing the car and dropping another position in the chain, all of that has released Panda up to P4. Let's say a few games ago, this track used to be kind of Panda's specialty, if I can call it that way. It used to be the track he excelled on. With the changes of physics and battery and whatnot, it's not really that anymore, but Panda is currently reliving his glory days on the streets here. We're struggling with the car a little bit. And through all of that, sorry for my lack of competence in capturing that free wide in turn 1, because that would have been a cool moment, but in all of that, Puko has clung onto that P3 with all of his fingers and then some. Tilted trying to outbrake Panda, so obviously Tilted wants to, and there is a little bit of tire-to-tire contact, maybe even side-foot-to-side-foot contact. Panda got pushed off the track slightly, and that's an illegal overtake. That's an illegal overtake, I think, that he got there, and he had to let Tilted back past. And now Panda is being challenged by Ian, and he's trying to squeeze the kick into the wall! Into the wall almost. Tilted recognizes the danger and he moves to block Ian. Panda with some very, very robust behavior there, and ultimately that doesn't end so right for him, because he's now ghosted and losing places and going slowly. And he's now lost the places that he gained from that whole debacle in the first place. In other news, Engine is now the leader of the race, so the mediums must be falling off now. Panda is not happy with the places lost. He's re-challenging LT, and he makes the move on LT. So essentially everyone in that group getting a bit of it after Puko made everyone into one chain. And Puko, for his own part, he's managing this perfectly. Of course, the two leaders have run away, so his race is not with them anymore. But he's doing very nicely to keep this P3 and basically stay on this strategy that I would assume he had engineered for himself from the beginning. So he's not fazed by that missing end plate. Tilted is now clear. He has broken the arrest to Ian for the time being, so Tilted will not be fighting through this section, and maybe this is what he finally needs to get past Puko. He's very, very close behind him this time around, doesn't lose the car in the third year, which is crucial. Through turn 20, the car just trying to get... And Puko is just pulling away from him. I mean, Tilted didn't really have the arrest there yet, but Puko was pulling away from him. At the start of the straight, we got Tom and Ian in the pits, so there's two strategies for these guys, I would assume. So Tom is not wasting his time. Obviously, Tom lost some places in China 2 weeks ago because he had to switch very late to the two-stop. So I think he's just preventing that from happening again. He just went to the pits as soon as the medium stopped working for him. We got Josh making a move on Panda. So one McLaren's falling backwards and one McLaren is on the move. So the only people right now remaining out on their starting tyre, their starting mediums, I meant to say, are Puko with a damaged end plate and both the Aston Martins. Speaking of the Aston Martins, Iceman has just picked up the third 3-second time penalty. Don't expect to see a lot of them today. I mean, the only place I can really think of is that corner they just went through there. And Tom and Engine, with all that going on around Puko, has pulled away so much that Tom is coming up on this battle. He's gonna try to make a move on Panda. That's gonna be tight for the two of them. And Tom just backed out at the last moment. That would have been a head-raising moment for the McLaren driver. Through turn 16, and Panda, I don't think, will be opposed to Tom making this move down at 10-18. Panda getting very, very squirrely, and Tom makes his way through. His teammate up next. Obviously, Tom will not get stuck in the chain like everyone else is because he has fresher tires and he has a pace advantage anyway. Having said that, though, he might re-lose the position because Panda is re-challenging, but Tom is going to have fresher tires, so he's going to be on the inside of turn 1. He's going to have better grip over there, and I think Panda is going to have to give that position up for good. Up next for Tom, his teammate, and I don't think Josh is going to make his life overly difficult. And Josh has not made life difficult for him. Rusty picks up a 10-second spinning penalty. So that is unfortunate for the Haas driver. Tom now on the back of LT. With any luck, he will be able to make this move into 10-7. Hard on the brakes, this is quite a tight corner. Tom is gonna cut the corner. I wonder if that was an illegal overtake. I don't think it was because Tom is continuing on without problems. It was a bit of an audacious move, but you know it worked. While all that was happening, Puko has gone into the pits and has changed to another set of mediums. So that's quite an interesting approach in that he's not on the harder allocation. So Puko definitely two-stopping as Tilted has just clipped the wall, and that is not the first. That's not the first wall clip for Tilted, but the first one that I've seen that was his fault. With all that said and done though, he still has both end plates in a healthy state. Tom on the move, and he will complete that move rather comfortably. Tilted is not using his battery. Tom is all out of battery, so Tom is really pushing here. Iceman now picks up a 3-second time penalty. Second one of the evening. He's the only person with track limits penalties right now, so I don't know what he's doing, if he's taking 10-7 really boldly, or just running wide at 10-1, or... That's about the only places that I can think of where you can get warnings. Maybe you can also get on the exit of 10-17, maybe? If you like miss the curb and just go off, maybe you can get there also, but that's not a lot of places where you can get track limits here. Checking in with engine. All good and calm there. Chishi nearly clips the wall, and that's gonna be a challenge from Barnas. Obviously these guys all on starting tires still, because they all started on hards, and they are getting caught up by those who have pitted for new hards. Chishi is sliding that car, and Chishi has gone straight into the wall at the castle! He has gone straight into the wall at the castle! I mean, obviously he tried to brake, but it didn't look like he braked. He went straight on it to the wall. I mean, he's quite lucky not to be immediately out the race. There is no safety car, no VSC. But there is also no wing on that Visa, and now the Red Bull is in the wall. That would be Spartan, who got caught up behind that commotion with Chichi slowing everyone up. Puko now goes for the move, and Chichi turns into him! Chichi just turns in like there was no car there, at least from the angle that I am seeing. I mean, hopefully there is no damage for Puko, because Puko has only just changed his wing. Tilted now gets a 10-second time, but it's all kicking off. Chichi is limping to the pits. It's getting overtaken by both of the Red Bulls, potentially. But that incident with Chichi kind of reminded me of what I was reading recently, as Barnes, you can see him get a wing change there. What I was reading recently, basically when they first introduced like real street circuits in F1, which was back in the 1980s, the cars didn't really deal well with street circuits, and it also didn't really help that a lot of those races were held during the summer, when the surface was at its hottest and all the components in the car were at their hottest. And basically there were not a lot of finishers in early F1 street races. Basically, the cars would just kind of lose brake power lap by lap, and sometimes by like lap 20 or 30, the driver would just go to brake, and the car just wouldn't brake and would just drive straight and out of the race. And that's what the Chichi incident reminded me of, basically. Even though I haven't seen any videos of those crashes, that's kind of how I imagine it would look like. We got LT making a move on Mahon. Obviously LT is on fresh mediums, Mahon is still on his starting hards. And now Welsh Benjamin, who is also on fresh tires, although free lap or hards in his case, is also gonna try to make that move. I think Mahon is trying to stay out the way, maybe he's even pitting this lap. Panda in the pits, so it's all happening. I think Panda might have got a warning for crossing the exit white line. Then he's gonna come back to the track right in front of Josh, actually cutting him off there slightly. And Josh is not gonna take well to that. He's immediately gonna drag race the Ferrari. He's gonna have an advantage because he's got DRS, but he's not using his battery. Or rather, he didn't use as much as he could have. A little bit of contact there. Actually, Josh clips the wall. No ill effect in terms of his end plate, but he clips the wall slightly. He does make the move though. So it's nice to see a little bit of initiative from Josh. He's usually quite a passive driver, we see nothing wrong with that. It's just nice to see people switch up their usual styles once in a while. We got a yellow, and that is Mahon in the wall and out of the race at turn 3, sorry. So I think he might have done what I said that people could do before the race, which is turn too early and clip the inside and lose the left front. So Alpine remains on 0 points, basically. 7 races, 0 points for Alpine. So unfortunately his debut race with us comes to an end prematurely. We got Engine in the pits, so Engine is two-stopping like Tom. He's just doing it in a different order, and I love this game. I don't know why it can't just show me the animation of him driving out. It just has to do the teleportation thing for some reason. It's very important to show off Kick Sauber's teleportation technology out of the pits, apparently. So we got Kicks 2 and 3 right now, but everyone is on different strategies. Obviously Rapid is on a 2-stop, like everyone else around him, but he made his first stop earlier than anyone else, and now you can see in the background he's getting challenged by Puko, and it's actually not gonna have a lot to say about that, and Puko on the fresh mediums makes his way past. And the pink Visa is not really responding. I think Spartan, just like he did at Mexico, Granted that Tom Eat also did it in Mexico, but there's no Tom Eat here today. I think Spartan might be the only one stopping in this one. We'll try to keep an eye on all the gaps as the race progresses. We are approaching the halfway point right now. If you've just joined, if you just came up on the stream randomly on YouTube, this is a league called FLR, and we race on the F125 game here, and it's gonna stay that way for another year because they are not releasing a new game this year, just a DLC. But if you want to join, just ask me in the chat, and I can drop a link. The link, that is. Back to the action. There is no action because there's only Ian. But we got a whole chain lining up to take on Rapid. We are currently watching from Tilted, who has a front row seat to the battle between Rapid and Puko. Obviously Rapid is race challenging Puko, which is interesting because Puko is very, very low in terms of downforce. There is contact between the two. They have wrapped wheels and there is a huge accident! Or, you know, not a huge accident, but at least 4 cars involved there. Puko getting the worst of that. Basically they locked wheels and just neither driver wanted to give up, and then when they did want to give up it was just too late because the physics will just lock the wheels together. And we got Ben in the wall at turn 3, and that is a full course safety car. So that changes things. That is a reset at the halfway point of the race, and I think something that Puko will welcome, and Barnes has unfortunately picked up a 10-second time penalty for collision with Ice One, and I think Puko will benefit the most from the safety car because he literally only just spun, and the mediums don't last long anyway, and he would have burned them out. So I think this benefits Puko the most. But it's also nice for several other people. You know, Rapid, it gets him back into sequence with everyone else. Engine, it catches him up to Tom, allows him to catch up to Tom. But it was still, you know, a safety car, not something we see often in FLR. And the fact we took nearly half the race to see one in Baku is just credit to everyone's skill. So I said at the start that we're gonna see at least 3 DNFs. So I wonder who the third one is gonna be. You see both of them occurring at turn 3 thus far. No DNFs in the castle, even though Chichi tried his best. And no DNFs in turn 1, even though Rapid and Puko tried their best there as well. Tom back out on the circuit, and Engine has not pitted. Is that a strategic mistake, or is he... Or is he a generational mastermind who knows something that I missed? Because Engine will not go to the end of these mediums, he has to stop one more time. So either he's on balanced allocation, or he's just made a mistake. Because he will have to stop again. Tom does not have to stop again. So he's basically handed Tom the win on a platter. I mean, by the looks of things. Everyone except Engine and Josh has made it into pits under the safety car. And with the exception of Rusty, who I think will pit eventually, he just needs to do one more lap and just catch up with everyone and basically just avoid wear on his next set. I think that's why he's staying out there. Yeah, I would imagine it is, mate. Unlucky for you, I didn't happen to catch your DNF, but I saw a few laps before that I saw Chichi nearly DNF in the castle because he just He just braked and the car just wasn't there and just went straight on into the wall. So I can only imagine it's quite difficult out there, especially with the rear tires wearing out lap by lap. So Engine still standing by his decision to not make it into the pits. So it's quite interesting because he definitely has to stop again. So I wonder what Engine's plan is. I mean, as I said, it's either because he has two sets of mediums and only one set of hards. Yeah, I did catch the incident between you two, but I can't. I'm not really in a position right now to say who was at fault. It just kind of looked like both of you were fighting really hard in the middle of turn 1, and then your tires just locked, and neither of you could steer basically, and you just hit the wall. Josh has just got a 10-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flag? That must have been the disconnected car from Alex Hendricks. That is unfortunate. Oh, 38 degrees. Well, then I'm surprised I haven't seen anything be set on fire yet. Yeah, that would also explain why no one except I think Spartan, no one at all looked at any point to be planning a one-stop. I think with that temp, it's just not possible at all with how soft the compounds are around here. Now we're gonna take one more lap to assemble the queue, and then we'll be able to go again. So I think Rusty will be making it into the pits on this lap. And with every lap that the safety car stays out, and every lap that Engine stays out with it, it's just getting worse and worse for him, because Engine still has to make one stop, remember. No one else has to make one more stop. Maybe except Spartan, but you know, Spartan is not a factor for the win. Engine is gonna have to pass all these people. Engine is gonna have to pass all these people. He's gonna make one more stop and he's gonna be deep in traffic. I mean, yeah, I just cannot explain Engine's strategy at all at this point. I don't know what he's planning to do from here. So Josh peeled off. Obviously, he felt like he needed to serve a penalty. Rusty continuing to stay out, which is about as interesting as Engine's choice, because I would have surely thought that Rusty would have pitted. He's on 8-lap all mediums. But yeah, right now, with everyone being forced onto the same sequence by the safety car, as Spartan now gives a 10-second penalty for collision with Puko, which I think is a mistake of the game. I think it would have just been slight contact under safety car, nothing major, so that is unfortunate. I think he will be able to get that removed. That is if he can bring those mediums to the end. And yeah, what I was about to say before that penalty is that Ian is legitimately in P2 right now, with everyone being forced onto the same strategy. The only people who are on any kind of different sequence right now are Rusty and Engine, who are on old mediums and definitely have to pit again, and obviously Hendricks, who is an AI and doesn't count. The other 12 cars are all basically in the same sequence. Safety car in this lap. So Rusty, he's gonna be there on those H mediums. That's not gonna end well for him. We're gonna go to the main broadcast camera. See, it's quite a jumbled up order. Obviously Ian making up 5 places, with everything that was going on, with the timing of his stop, with the damage to everyone, with the Puko spin. He has made up places, but those faster drivers are not out of the race yet, and they might come back to him. At this point, barring But a crazy development. I think Tom has got this in the back as engine brings the pack back up to speed. There's 3 wide, nearly 4 wide in the background there. Looks like a fun battle between the back markers. There's a Merc that is ghosted, that would be Hendrix. Obviously his AI is getting out of everyone's way nicely. I'm just gonna look what that pack at the back is up to. They're still nearly 3 wide, although now they are forming into single file. Ice One is going defensive on the inside. He's got Barnas right behind him, and Chichi is behind them too. Rusty has pitted now, which again, and there is contact between Ice One and Spartan, and potentially between Barnas as well. I don't know if he hit them from the back, and it was kind of a domino effect. But a few people were nearly in the wall. Barnas losing the car again, but he does get ahead of Ice One. Chichi is now gonna send it into 10-7. There's contact between him and Ice One. Obviously, I don't really like to judge things like that while the race is still underway, and I haven't seen everyone's POV and stuff, but in my opinion that was not on from Chichi. That was quite an aggressive move, but he gets the position. And I think Ice One still has both his end plates in place. So it appears that no harm, no foul there. But those guys were tripping over each other a little bit, and they've lost over 3 seconds to the guys ahead. Barnas now gets ahead of Spartan. Spartan nearly clipped the wall as he exited 10-20 there. And now Chichi has made up another position on Spartan. I think Spartan has damage. And Spartan indeed peels off into the pits. So he will probably be left with a private battle against Rusty. Chichi trying his hardest to make up another position, but he's just gonna lose the position to Ice One. Or he was about to lose, but Ice One just decided not to push the issue. Ice One is now gonna send it to the inside at 10-4. 10-3 rather. But ultimately it's all gonna stay in the same order. We are now watching Ian's kick. Obviously, Ian is gonna be the busiest man on track in those late stages because the 2 leaders have pulled away and Ian is left to contend with a train of 6 cars right behind him who are all gonna have the arrest. There is what is that? Rather, who is that? I think there was an issue for Spartan. I think he just overshot the rejoin to track. Hopefully no additional damage to his car, but he's on softs. I mean, yeah, if he takes the softs 8 laps, that would be quite the feat. We are now going to focus on this battle for the final podium position, which will become the battle for P2, because Engine is already losing grip on the mediums. He briefly pulled out of the DRS of Tom. And Ian does not have to worry about being the first guy in the chain anymore, because he's the third guy in the chain, he's the fourth guy in the chain, and Ian has just lost 3 positions in about 3 seconds. Tom is holding off for now. Ian's battery appearing quite depleted. And Puko is the next one to line up and attack. Quite exciting times here. We are seeing a couple of new faces in podium contention. We got LT with the potential of his first podium. We got Puko with the potential of his first podium. Tilted potentially looking for a podium as well. We know that Tilted's race pace is quite good, and we've got someone off in the castle, or just before the castle. There was an issue between Josh and Tilted, who are both 5 seconds off the chain now. So something happened to them at around 10-6 or 10-7. We got Rapid right on the back of LT. He's sticking quite close to him in the dirty air, but one issue for Rapid is that he is on the mediums and they're already 5 laps old. Granted, part of that was on the safety car, but he still has to do 7 more laps on those tires. And everyone around him is on hards, and those hards are just gonna be getting better and better. We got Tom making a move on engine. Rusty picks up a 3-second time, but he's only the second person with that distinction today. And Tom makes a move on engine, and engine basically has to call the shot on this lap, as Rapid and LT are batting away from P3. Engine has to call the shot on this lap. Either he tries to manage these tires, as Tilted has retired in the pits, so that is the third retirement that I was talking about, though not in the fashion that I was expecting it. We got 3 wide into turn 3, or what looked like 3 wide into turn 3. So Tilted, I think, had damage and just was not bothered anymore, which is unfortunate. I mean, he would have still been ahead of Rusty and Spartan, I would believe, and he's just gonna get a points deduction instead, but such is life. Engine has to call his shot. He either manages those mediums to the end and just... He either manages those mediums to the end, or he just pits for hards now. Either way, I don't think either decision will result in him having anything for Tom. So Tom is just looking to extend the championship lead again and just build an even larger cushion for when he misses those races due to holiday later on. But LT on the back of Rapid. Tonga Props is the fastest lap with 141.8. LT with massive overspeed on Rapid, so obviously LT running quite low wings. Settles back onto the racing line and comfortably out in P3. And I think Engine has chosen his strategy and is gonna go to the end. So we'll see how that pans out for him. That early move for LT has cost him, because immediately on the next DRS train he's been overtaken again by Rapid. Obviously he was flashing, he was way below 10% of battery and was losing engine power. And we got 4 other cars, or 3 other cars that is, waiting in the wings. P3 could still be anyone's out of this group. Before they get to the straight, we're just gonna have a quick look at position changes. So our biggest mover is Barnard's with 6 positions gained. We also got Spartan and Chichi with and Hendrix's AI 3 positions up each. Our biggest loser is unfortunately Puko, who has been in quite some adventures this race, with the broken end plate on the first spin, then the spin after the contact with Rapid, and Archon has lost 2 places, and Engine has lost 1, and that is everyone who is lower than their starting position. LT back to P3. LT and Rapid just seem content for the moment to be exchanging that position. There's a little touch to the turn 3 wall there, where Ben and Mahon crashed earlier on. Josh ahead of Barnard, so that is their own private battle for P8. And they're gonna stay side by side through turn 4. Chichi is waiting behind them. And Barnard either leaned on his car too much or got hit by Chichi from behind. I'm not quite sure. Ice One just kind of overtook him when he was ghosted, which is not quite allowed, but he was kind of going slow after the spin, so I can kind of understand that. And that whole debacle have given Josh some breathing room, although Josh is driving with quite some hesitation and carefulness, so I'm just gonna verify his car. He's missing his right end plate. Yeah, when I saw him driving so conservatively, I knew something was off. He's missing his right end plate, so that is why he's losing ground on that train ahead. So obviously something happened with Josh and Tilted beforehand. And now Josh is just gonna try to limp to the end and just hopefully get those P8 points, even though it's gonna be difficult with Chichi behind him. Obviously Chichi not known for being one to peacefully sit behind someone and just let them have a position. Chichi will fight for that. Ian is now at the back of the chain and falling out of the RS, so unfortunately for him that podium hope didn't last long, even though it was a good effort. Speaking of good efforts, LT has shown us the best of himself today. I already said in quali that he was quite close to the sharp end, and now he's backing that up with some good race pace as well. So the mediums do appear to be melting at this point. He's gaining on engine and on rapid, and Panda I don't think will be wasting time, as Rapid was way over to the left side wall there, so I think he had some major wheel spin on that exit and had to avoid the wall. I don't think Panda will be wasting too much time in getting past Rapid. We got yellow flag, which is Chichi, I would assume. I think he got into it with Josh, although I'm not quite sure on that. Panda's getting challenged by Puko, and I don't think either of these guys can afford to sit behind Rapid for too long. Because if neither of them gets ahead of Rapid, I think LT has secured P3 for sure. Josh decides to change that wing, so even though there were only 3 laps left, he just decided he couldn't do that, or either that or he just broke the wing completely in that collision with Chichi. I can't quite tell. Puko is beginning to struggle right now, or maybe it was just a one-off. And LT is looking good for a podium, that's for sure. And you can also wonder if he will be getting P2, as now Josh gets a 10-second penalty for crossing the pit exit white line, so that will be the second time that he's done that, because the game will only give you a warning if you cross the pit exit once. It will give you a 10 second if you do it a second time. So Adrian, at this point, he will be resigned to conserving his tires and just hanging on for dear life for P2, because Tom is just gone. And those tires are gonna be knackered, but he's got 2 more laps to go, and he's got 2.3 seconds to about 2.4 seconds over LT. And that is the exact same situation for Rapid, only in Rapid's case, he doesn't have a caution. He's got 2 cars riding his DRS, and he's got a fast closing Ferrari on his back. And Panda will be ahead by the time they get to the braking zone. There's another yellow flag. I think there's been another issue potentially for Spartan in there somewhere. There's a little bit of contact between Puko and Rapid, but nothing close to what they had before, just a slight touch of the wheels, and that is Rapid losing 2 positions. And now Rapid is gonna be left to deal with his fellow director of FLR there. We got yet another car in for softs in those late stages, so I don't know if mediums and Rusty has some kind of issue. I don't know where that is. And that is out of 10-16. No, sorry, that's out of 10-19. Yeah, that is the bit heading onto the straight. But it's only 2 laps to go. So I think he can just hang it out and just pick up the points for that position. But now he's gonna be coming in. And bringing that car in rather slowly there, but it's not like he's in a hurry. So it's gonna change that wing, and Spartan's gonna do the same. I didn't think softs were gonna be used today, but you know, Baku, the track of surprises. And all of that, Tom has started the final lap. I didn't realize he was that far ahead. Engine has lost 8 tenths on that lap to LT, so if he keeps that up, he will be retaining P2, but that remains to be seen. In the meantime, we got the battle of the directors. We got Ian on the back of Rapid for P6. We got I think that's a lap car. I think that's Spartan having another issue at 10-2. So something is just not clicking with the pit exit for him. I think it's best for Ian to leave this for the last straight, and I would assume that's what he will be doing. Same situation with Puko and Panda. Panda losing the car as well on the exit of 10-3, saving it from the wall. So I think there might be some photo finishes happening, and LT is almost licking the paint on the rear wing of the Kicksauber of engine. So obviously those mediums are gone. They're way past their usefulness. Engine is sliding around everywhere. You know those things are dead when a driver of that caliber of skill is struggling that much. And easy as that, LT makes the move. Easy as that, LT has made the move. And Engine has lost the car! Engine has dropped the car! Under braking for 316, Engine drops the car and is gonna lose multiple positions because that chain was still close to him. Tom is weaving, Tom is in another dimension to everyone, and Tom has finally won a race. Tom Prof wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix with an 18-second lead. You know what I said at the beginning? When you have good drivers who deal with low grip well, you have those margins of victory in Baku, and that's what we saw there. It's gonna be a photo finish, it's gonna be another photo finish for Ian and Rapid. Actually, that was less of a photo finish because Ian got past Rapid way before. Engine is gonna limp it to the line. That was a puncture. That was a puncture on the right rear. That was the case. That was the whole cause of why he dropped the car under braking. So he did well to dig himself out of there and finish the race. Because a rear puncture is no joke on this game. Ice One, despite his 2 track limits penalties, brings it home in P8, obviously benefiting from the hards, while everyone was on softer compounds and getting into one another. So LT definitely my driver of the day, and congrats for his first podium in FLR, but Ice One, a shout out to him as well. He just kept it calm while everyone around was having problems. And shout out to Panda as well. I don't know how long it's been since his last podium in FLR, but it must have been a bit. Puko, so close. He missed out on his first podium in FLR by 61 thousandths. We could have had 2 first-time podium finishers, but he's gonna have to wait for another day. Ian in P5, Rapid in P6, Engine brings it home in P7 after a last lap puncture. Ice One P8, Barnans and Chichi complete the top 10, and both of those drivers had very, very adventurous races today. There you can see the rest of the order. So, Tom finally wins, and with that last lap puncture for Engine, he's gonna lose points again. So that's gonna be advantage Tom in the championship, but remember he's still missing races, so they can still come back to him. And next week we are going to Suzuka, But, you know, just sit back, relax, and just think about that next week. And for now, I wish everyone a good evening, and hope you have a good day tomorrow, regardless of how shitty your work is or something. I don't know what I'm saying. Bye.